Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a March 2025 monthly budget recap. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. Here we are in my March 2025 monthly spread in my Budget by Paycheck workbook. I'm currently filming this video at the end of April. I'm really behind, obviously, in this video. I actually closed out my budget in the first few days of April, but I just never got around to filming this video, and I wanted to because I did actually close my budget, and I do think people like it when I share my monthly budget recaps. As you can see, everything on this monthly spread is checked off. That's all of my bills as well as my savings challenge. We're going to first look at my debt payment plan. Now, I only have one source of debt currently, and that is my student loans that are through Nelnet. At the end of March, I had a total balance of $23,760.19. My interest rate is just over 5%. My minimum payment's actually closer to $700, but my employer is currently contributing to my student loans. So, minusing their contribution, my minimum payment is around $400. Now, I did have a situation at the beginning of this year where one of my employer's payments towards my student loan didn't go through in time before the end of the month. I think it was in January. It might honestly have even been in December. Regardless, it was playing a little bit of catch up for a while. So that's why you're actually seeing that on the 3rd as well as on the 26th, there are payments of $333.33. Those are the ones from my employer. So 2 payments from them as well as an extra $500 payment from myself. That means my total debt payments for the month of March were $1,566.66. Last month, my total debt balance was a little under $25,000. This month, it's $23,760.19. That means total debt progress of $1,233.33 or 1.7%. Now, when we come over to the overall debt progress, I always let people know that this $70,910.32 was my total debt in June 2022 when I purchased a new vehicle. This month's debt total we already talked about. My overall progress is $47,150.13 or 66.5%, which is really, really exciting, creeping closer and closer to 70%. Next, we have my monthly net worth tracker, which breaks things down into assets and liabilities. I do have my individual assets covered here, but we'll talk about the total. My only liability is, again, my student loan, which we already talked about. I have my last month's net worth up top here, which was $376,852.11. If we go down to the bottom of this page, my total assets for March were $409.48. We know my debt total is a little under $24,000. If we subtract those liabilities from my assets, I have a total net worth of $380,649.29. That's an improvement of $3,797.18 from last month, or 1%. I'm trying not to focus too much on this. We are dealing with a lot of economic change, and that has not been good for my retirement accounts, which is why this number has been really variable and has seen quite significant decreases in 2025. So trying not to focus too much on that, but very grateful to see a positive change in March. Next, we're going to go to my favorite page, which is the monthly budget category breakdown. Now I'm going to leave it like this and then we'll zoom out in a little bit. The first part of the monthly budget category breakdown is figuring out the monthly inflow. That's my starting balance, which is the money that I brought over from February into March 2025, which for me was a little over $1,000. My earned income, which is always going to be only my income from my full-time job. Other income, which for me in the month of March was $2,366.66. Savings used, which I didn't use any savings in March, and adding everything together, my total monthly inflow for March was $10,864.40. Now, the reason why my other income section was so high is because I will occasionally get asked by different law firms for my medical opinion on personal injury cases. And when I do that, I am paid for my services, paid to give my opinion. And so that was something that happened in the month of March, which is why my other income is so high. I also went on vacation, and for all of the food that I purchased while I was on vacation, like every time we ate in a restaurant, I actually used my Discover credit card because I was getting 5% cash back for restaurants. And so all of that went onto my credit card. And then when we got home, my mom, who went on vacation with me, actually paid me back for her half of all the food and dining. So that's included in there as well. If we look into my specific budget categories, for groceries, I budget 500. That's just what I budget per paycheck times two, since I usually get paid twice in a month. I spent 175, which is wild. I don't know why it was that low. I do think part of it was that I was on vacation, but that's still lower than I would anticipate. So I was under budget by over $300. Eating out, I did do quite a bit of eating out in March, so I was over budget on that one. I spent a little over $200, over budget by over 50. Gas, I'm definitely spending more on gas and have throughout the winter time because my gas mileage isn't as good with my hybrid if I'm running my heat. I haven't been running my heat in the last few weeks. I'm already seeing my gas mileage improve with that. So hopefully, as we get into the warmer months, I won't be spending as much on gas. But I spent $78, which was still under budget. I didn't spend any money from my miscellaneous cash envelopes. I did have a bunch in terms of miscellaneous bills. So it was $2,697.08. A lot of this was actually spending that I did on vacation in terms of food and stuff like that, that I put onto a credit card for cashback purposes and then had to pay it off. I'm trying to think of what other things kind of went into that. Like what other big amounts went into that. I think it was a lot of small things. Oh, there was another, I know what the biggest part of this was. So I am currently still in the midst of finalizing everything to close my father's estate. My father passed away last year in 2024, and it's just a very long process of trying to settle everything when it comes to someone's estate after they pass. And so I have been working with a lawyer to do that, and I did have to pay for those services in the month of March, so that was over $1,000 that I ended up paying. So between that and then the money that was spent on food for vacation, that's basically what makes this up, along with a bunch of like very like small purchases that just add up. Next, we have savings. I always want to save at least $3,000. I saved over 4,000, so that was exciting. Utilities, for some reason I had very low utilities in March. My optimum phone, internet, and cable, the bill was only like $12. I'm not sure why. I'm not going to question it. So that's why that was so low. Personal are things like Netflix, Spotify, Audible, things like that. So $44. Housing is my rent, $600. Giving is what I contribute to my church every month. And then we already know my debt, which was a little over $1,500. Now, the most important thing to remember when you're looking at this section of the monthly budget category breakdown is that you cannot forget to put in your starting balance for the next month. This is cash that's sitting in your account on the last day of the month that's going to roll over into the first day of the next month. If I don't do that, I'm not going to have a balanced budget because the budget by paycheck workbook and method is all based off of a zero based budget. So everything needs to match outflow and inflow. So money that was going from March to April, $1,018.40. If we add all of these things together, they should equal my total monthly inflow. And fortunately for March, they did $10,864.40. So I was off by $0, which is very, very exciting. Now, I do want to zoom out just a little bit and touch on a couple of things in the beginning of my budget book because I have not filmed Budget with Me's for I think 2 months now. I don't think I filmed any in the month of March, and I did not film any in the month of April. So this is where I've been keeping track of my sinking funds, not my rolling sinking funds, but the ones that specifically have monetary goals. And I will say that Black Friday has now reached goal, so I do need to fill in the rest of that. And we have gotten closer on I think subscriptions probably met goal as well. So, and we're getting closer on the other one. So I do have to update this. I haven't updated it in a few weeks. I have been keeping up with my 2025 savings challenge. And then let's talk about my trackers, my savings trackers. So this one's my house savings tracker. Each house equals $100. So I'm really, really excited with how much I've been able to put towards house savings this year. I will say I've had to pull out money from this account, unfortunately, for things that I had no control over but had to deal with regards to closing out my father's estate. If you've ever dealt with estate stuff, you know that debt does not die. It does not die. So my father unfortunately had debt when he passed away, and that debt has to be paid. And with, my sister and I not really wanting to sell the asset that he has, which is his condo, which we have been renting out for the last few years, um, I paid the debt that needed to be paid. So I did have to take out a chunk of money from this account, more than what I've contributed in the year 2025. So since the end of 2024, I'm still net negative in this account, even though I have saved all of this in 2025. But I'm trying not to be discouraged by that. I want to just keep going because I have been contributing a lot to my house savings, and it's been really motivating. And so I want to focus on what this picture looks like, not the actual reality. So I have been keeping track of all my house savings on here. And then I have my student loan payoff tracker on the back here, and I have also been keeping up with this. I'm straddling a fine line between paying off my student loan debt, but not paying off too much that I'm not going to benefit from the full amount that my employer is willing to give me towards my student loans. So, as you can see, I'm not putting as much towards my student loans as I am towards my house savings, but I am still making a bunch of progress on my student loans, which is really, really exciting and I'm very, very pleased about. So I just wanted to update you all and let you know that I have been keeping up with these trackers, and I'm still holding strong on contributing to my house savings and contributing to my student loans. One thing we're not doing in this video is I'm not sharing my $5 challenge container as well as my $5 envelope, and that's because we are now at the end of April. I've been putting $5 bills in that envelope throughout the month of April. So when I do my April monthly budget closeout, you will see me put those fives in my container, and it's going to be fives from March and from April. And that's going to be it for this monthly budget recap for March 2025. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I promise I am trying to find the time and the motivation to film Budget with Me's and cash envelope stuffings. I know I didn't end March and April, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can come back in May. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.